Hello and welcome into the Hill City. It's the Lynchburg Hornets in a code red affair playing host to the University of Mary Washington Eagles inside Liberty Natatorium. I'm Joe Brennan, joined alongside my good friend and partner Kyle Haney. We're ready to get underway with event number one, women's 200-yard medley relay. Kyle, what an event to kick things off. Lynchburg playing host to Director of Men's and Women's Swimming's alma mater, Brad Dunn, against University of Mary Washington, two premier programs in the DMV. It's all set up to be a great affair today.
I loved your conversation with Brad. That's on the Lynchburg Hornets YouTube. If you need to check that out, no, you do need to check it out. You should hear Joe's thoughts with Brad and talked about this event. Lynchburg swimming in general. He's just a fabulous coach. Love starting off with the medley relay because it gets the team concept going on, Joe. The individual events are great, and we'll have a lot of those, but nothing like a good team race to kick it off.
Lynchburg in lane one. In lane one for, pardon me, on the mobile setup, still working out the kinks here inside Liberty Natatorium. In lane two for Mary Washington, it's Sivak. Lane three for Lynchburg is Fleener. Lane four for Mary Washington is Kokoros. Lane five for Lynchburg, Schneider. Lane six for Mary Washington, Carr. Lane seven for Lynchburg, Moore. Lane eight for Mary Washington, Graf. Out off the blocks in the first turn. Mary Washington out in front. Two swimmers in lane 8 and 6.
Yeah, lanes 4 and 5, Joe, are the A team, so that might be the one to keep an eye on, especially if you're looking for who could win the race. Now, those teams in lane B sometimes do win these relay races, so keep an eye there. The lane B matchups are lane 3 for Lynchburg, lane 6. Mary Washington B team is in lane 6.
Mary Washington still out in front. Two blue caps leading the charge. Lynchburg making up some ground with Malgren. Third rotation into the pool. It's McMullen out in front. Long strides, looking for the final leg. 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, Mary Washington, lane 6. Their B team did get in the pool first, so it'll be Abby Higgins, that final leg here, a chance to win this for the Eagles. Correction, that is lane 4 for Mary Washington.
Moy,
yep,
fighting with Shore. Moy, Shore, and Higgins.
And Sophie Shore might have got a hand on the wall first for Lynchburg. That one is awfully close. Let's see what the official scoring and timing gives us up on our big board here at Liberty Natatorium. Sophie Shore, one of our all-time favorites, a multi-sport athlete here at Lynchburg. She's swimming that anchor leg for a reason. It was very close at the end with the Mary Washington A team and Kitty Moy Jacobs.
An exciting finish to kick things off for the women's 200-yard medley relay. Now we'll move over to the men's side. No results shown on the board in-house.
Everybody's got their eyes up there. And on your screen, yeah, lane 1 on the right, and then lane 2 beside that. So lanes working right to left as far as the numerical order. To me, it should be the other way, Joe, but that's just a personal preference. We'll try to clarify as much as we can.
Tapia for Lynchburg on the near side, first lane. Then Stern for Mary Washington. Andrews for Lynchburg in lane 3. Roundtree in lane 4 for Mary Washington. Lynchburg and Brooks in lane 5. Mary Washington and Seitz in lane 6. Laumiller and Lynchburg in lane 7. Lane 8 with Walker and the Eagles. Take a look at the results from the previous event. Mary Washington takes first with Court Crow squad in lane 4. Fleener right behind in lane 3 for Lynchburg. And it looks as though Schneider in lane 5 for first, second, and third. Or no, pardon me, Carr.
Sorry, Joe. We're getting ready for the men's 200-yard relay, but yeah, I think you broke that down right. It's always a little bit confusing, and it did take some time, as we mentioned, for the scores to get up on the big board there. And then, of course, you just get the first name of the first leg there, so that can be a little confusing sometimes. I like it, talking about the Lynchburg and Mary Washington A and B. And always a good fight between those B squads as well. And there's a point of pride there for all the teams. If you're on that B squad, you want to beat the other team's B, and C beat the other team's C, so on and so forth.
Absolutely. Well, you got the A teams in 4 and 5, the
Yep.
B teams in 3 and 6. They're working inside out. Our first legs in the water. And they're off. Event 2 of today's Code Red affair between the Hornets and the Eagles. Roundtree fighting with Brooks for an opening position out in front. A long kick to the center of the water, and Brooks is out in front. Cruising in, and Lynchburg sends in Bambrick. A quick butterfly coming from lane 4, and Jonathan Zimmer. Lynchburg's A team out in front, but you talk about the battle of the B teams. Right now, lane 6, Mary Washington, well ahead of the Hornets in lane 3.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Mary Washington. I liked how you mentioned that long kick, staying under the water as long as you can, and that's always a good thing to watch out for. Even if you don't know much about swimming, you can just tell when somebody stays under that water for half the length of the pool, obviously they're getting a really good turn. They're really doing good work on the submarine.
Now we head to the final stretch. 4, 5, 4, 6 in that order to the freestyle. Lynchburg has led the whole way, looking to close it out.
Crowd coming alive. Listen to him, Joe.
It's Storer and Fisher, and it's Lynchburg with a victory. The A team in lane 5 comes away with it. But Mary Washington, with a strong fight, claims second and third.
Yeah, really good stuff there from Mary Wash in lane 6, their B squad. How about Adam Fisher closing it for Lynchburg on the freestyle? Crowd was getting behind him. Got to talk about this Code Red environment. A lot of schools have a similar type of concept, Joe, but at Lynchburg it's Code Red, and even for the swim meets, all the other students show up, they show out, the other teams get behind this swim program, and it really creates a great environment. I don't know how much you hear the fans underwater, Joe, but we felt them up here on that. That was fantastic the way everybody came alive.
Absolutely, and we got the chance to talk to Brad earlier this week. He mentioned how swimming in this facility, it's built like a basketball arena where the fans go all the way around, and it turns into almost an echo chamber of noise. That can oftentimes really juice up some athletes, especially when you're down there on the deck.
No doubt about it, and you get a team concept in an individual sport. Nobody else can be down there swimming with you. You can't pass it to anybody. But when you feel everybody behind you, even in the warm-ups, even in the week leading up to it, it does something to you. And you feel like it's got to be a big advantage for Lynchburg. Now, Mary Wash, they want to play the spoiler. It's a classic case there, and it looks like they've come ready to swim as we get to event number 3, women's 1,000-yard freestyle.
Yeah, let's walk through the lineup that we've got in the pool. Lanes 2 from 8 on the bottom of your screen to the top. It's Laney for Mary Washington in lane 2, then Adamitz for the Hornets in lane 3, Dillingman in lane 4 for the Eagles. Hanks in lane 5 for Lynchburg. Klein in lane 6 for Mary Washington. Parrott for Lynchburg in lane 7. And Candido in lane 8 for Mary Washington. Kyle, what I thought was so special is that obviously it's the Lynchburg Code Red. They're going to try and bring as many bodies in red and white and black as they possibly can. But they also invited Mary Washington down and said, let's create not just a great Lynchburg atmosphere, but a great Division III atmosphere as they're trying to get 4 digits on that attendance number or more.
Yeah, Brad Dunn there in your screen in the red hat there, red shirt. He is the head coach here for Lynchburg, talking to one of our officials right now. And yeah, great call by you. What Brad does to grow this sport, not just here at Lynchburg, but everywhere. And yeah, said we want to make this the biggest Division III dual swim meet ever. I think we're off to a good start. We still got fans rolling in here. Yeah, it's a cold, nasty day outside, too. It's a good day to be in here.
I'm right with you. I think right now you're teetering right around halfway there, maybe a little bit over. Like you said, I mean, this is a 3-hour event. You're going to have people walking in and out throughout the day. Obviously, a great day for Lynchburg athletics across the board. Great to have Mary Washington down here in the Hill City. And it's a busy day on Liberty's campus as well. The natatorium right next to the indoor track and field stadium, arena, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think they've got states going on today. I mean, the amount of people.
I thought I was in the wrong place with all the school buses. I had flashbacks to my high school years. I started thinking I'd missed an assignment or something. But, yeah, no, great atmosphere up here. And a little bit of a delay in getting this one started. I'm trying to think about what that might have been. We had a shot there of Coach Brad Dunn talking to our officials. I think everybody's ready to go. Probably makes you a bit anxious to just be standing around the blocks here for an extended period of time. Because like most sports, I mean, you go through your warm-up period, Joe, as a swimmer. You don't really want a long delay after you've warmed up. You don't want to stand around and wait around a whole lot. You see our swimmers kind of shaking it out, moving a little bit. But the delay is something that they're not going to be in love with as we work to get more information about what's slowing things down here for both teams, or just for the meet, I should say. Men's 1,000-yard freestyle coming up after this. So these will be longer races, obviously. I think most of our swim fans watching know that. I'm always conscious when I've done these swim meets that most of the people watching, Joe, know more than we do. So it is something that, you know, be patient with us swim fans. You know, if we say something stupid or put our foot in our mouths, we're having fun and we're learning the game just like everybody else is.
Absolutely. It's a good one today, though. This is a great way to learn. I mean,
yeah. And the dual meet helps because I don't know if you've done one of these with multiple teams. That can be tricky when you've got 4 squads in here and you're trying to figure out who's who. But right now it's pretty easy for us. Lynchburg in red, Mary Washington in the dark blue. As we're still waiting to get back in the pool for the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. Event 3, it looks like we've got 28 total, Joe. I think 1,000 yards is the longest distance we'll go today. Just double checking our event list, which you can find online as well. Yeah, 1,000 is the longest. So these next 2 will be by quite a bit our longest races. And it's one where strategy can come into play. Obviously, absolutely. When you go on a 50-yard or 100-yard, it's pretty much all you got all out. But as Coach Brad has talked to you about, 1,000 yards, there's some strategy at play. You don't want to go out too early. We'll get the teammates with the boards giving signals down on the other end of the pool. That's always fun and something we can discuss a little bit more there.
Well, Kyle, let's go through this because you talk about the strategy that you can bring in when you do the 1,000. Is there a certain strategy that you're more so a fan of? I mean, do you like going out fast and trying to control early, or maybe sit back a little bit and go for that final push?
Yeah, I think it depends on the person, but me personally, I would be scared to go out fast. I'm always conscious of like how much do I have left in the tank. But I think you're right. I think some swimmers would like that. Now back to the teammates with the boards. They're going to be able to give you a little indication You can sometimes, obviously, out of your peripheral, see the other swimmers and see where they're at. But I think you're going on feel, right? Like in track and field, you could have a watch and you could be pacing yourself, or somebody's yelling the splits from the infield, right? Swimming, that's a little bit harder. That's why the teammates with the boards can help. They can give you the shake. They can give you the up and down, side to side, as far as where you're at pace-wise. And then you've got to judge on how you feel. And then sometimes, that last 50 or 100 meters, or yards in this case, you're not going to feel great, right? Like if you've kept up a pretty good pace, you probably are going to be feeling it, and the shoulders are going to be burning, the chest is going to be pounding a little bit for that last 100-yard stretch.
And what's so unique when you compare this to track and field is if you're running track and field and you're in second place, you're a NASCAR guy. You can take a little bit of that drag off and go behind him and gear up to try and go around. Where this time, I mean, you're all on by yourself.
That's
you don't
exactly
have the visual cues. You don't have certainly as much audio cues. So it can be a whole lot trickier in terms of strategy and how you want to approach it. And I think it just comes back to repetition. I mean, regardless of who you're swimming against, what have you done that has helped you find success throughout the year?
That's exactly right.
These are two squads, whether you look at the men's side or the women's side, that have had a whole lot of success this year.
Yeah.
So these teams clearly know what they've been doing and know what they've been doing well, especially as we're, 80% through of the regular season.
One of those similarities, or another one, you hit on a couple, but another with track and field or even a motorsport racing is the strategy is in the preparation. The strategy is what you've been doing previously to train and get your body ready. Make sure you're healthy and ready to go. So, the strategy becomes less so when you're in the pool, but still can be a little bit playing out. And we have seen the swimmers jump in to warm up. That's how long this delay has been here, as Joe's got an ear out trying to listen to our great friend Eli Schilling, who is doing the public address for the meet. And we're trying to get more info about our delay, and hopefully we get to see some swimming again. That's why we're here, Joe.
Let's see if we can do some investigative journalism and figure out what's going on.
We don't want to talk about swimming.
I don't think anybody tuned in to hear our opinions about the strategy for the 1,000.
We want to watch swimming. Exactly. So we're getting investigative journalism was a term that you used earlier, and I think it's a fantastic term.
I appreciate it. I'd consider us a pair of journalists.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we're going for anyway, as we get visited by some of the outstanding coaching staff.
This place is filling up.
It is.
Pretty quickly. It is a party inside the natatorium, and they've been saying all week, pack the nat.
Pack the nat, baby.
That's got a nice little jingle to it.
It sure does. So much red, as you said. A lot of black and white for Lynchburg fans. And you do, we're getting some shots here, some crowd shots. You've got seating up above, as Joe was talking about, basketball arena style. You're looking down on the pool, and you can get a really, really big crew all around the balcony here. As there's some faces and names in that crowd that we know. As we got some folks just trying to stay loose there. We are waiting for event number 3, the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. We'll have 8 swimmers when we get cranked up. It'll be 7 for the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. I see Holden, one of our fantastic strength and conditioning coaches, Holden Fiedler, former Lynchburg baseball player, Joe, national champion catcher, by the way, Holden Fiedler. Now on the strength and conditioning side, he could probably pop on and give us some good insights about what a 1,000-yard freestyle does to the shoulders. I mean, I can just imagine my shoulders and the back really burning. We could give Holden that option. He's well-spoken. Although he's not looking over. I'm looking at him right now. We want Holden.
We're trying to talk about like the strength regimen for a swimmer.
He said he would. Well, we're still not swimming, Joe, so let's get him on.
All right, we've got Holden in the house. Holden, first off, welcome on. Is this your broadcasting debut?
Yes, broadcasting debut here.
What a day this is. Wow, Code Red, perfect day to make it happen. So, Kyle, right before he makes this glamorous exit to hand off the headset to you, bringing up the strength and conditioning regimen for swimmers like this, what is that like, especially for a group that already goes through a whole lot of strength conditioning while they're in the pool? What is it like out of the pool in the weight room for them?
It's not too much different from any other team. I like to treat them the same as I would with all my other teams. I think that they're almost, at least to their dismay, treated a little bit differently, where we're going to keep crushing them hard all the way through really until next couple weeks here, and then we'll let off the brakes as we get towards the ODAC portion of the season. But they get crushed in the weight room just like every other team. We're going to focus a lot on just general physical preparation and baseline fitness, and then we do a lot of work with band shoulder exercises and some other areas that are prone, high injury areas for them, trying to keep them healthy in the pool. Right, your best ability is availability, so if they can't swim, then not doing my job.
I like that. And is there any difference between a specialization in breaststroke versus butterfly, or short distance versus long distance?
No, we don't really I don't break them up too much into their events as far as the weight room. I think that if we can increase just baseline fitness, have everybody be bigger, stronger, faster, I think then that's going to put them in the best spot possible to swim better, no matter the stroke that they swim.
Absolutely. All right, last thing before I let you go. Obviously, Code Red today. You're a guy that competed in some Code Reds back in your heyday. What does this kind of atmosphere do for your psyche out there?
The Code Red is great. I mean, we can pack the house. It really matters a lot in terms of getting the team going, getting everybody fired up. The energy, I think, also affects the other team. If you can have any advantage, we'll take that. So advantage is always good, and trying to get them riled up, get them excited, and then get our team going as best as possible.
Beautiful.
That's always a good thing.
Olin, thank you so much
Absolutely.
for hopping on real quick. We're now going to turn it back to Kyle as we're ready to hit the water. Olin Fiedler, ladies and gentlemen. Always great to have his insight.
What did he say about my shoulders to get ready for this freestyle?
He said that they train everybody the same as they would with other teams.
Sounds like
no
something Ed
difference
Smith would say.
No difference between specialty. They focus on keeping them strong, keeping them available.
Yeah, availability is the best ability.
That's actually a direct quote that he was saying right before you got
He stole that from me. Holden stole that from me. But we're close to swimming again, Joe.
Eli just called for everybody to get back on the blocks, which is a great sign. Nobody's dancing anymore. It seems like it's strictly business here for the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. When was the last time you think you swam 1,000 yards, Mr. Haney?
Wow, in one day? I did used to swim quite a bit growing up, not competitively. I mean, I feel like I might have got 1,000 yards in, but, you know, you got to think, too, those pools that you're swimming in is just goofing off with your friends or in the backyard. They're not nearly this big, so to get 1,000 yards in one of those does take a long, long time. So maybe never.
Maybe. I'm probably with you.
Yeah, I dodged your question a little bit, but I'm going to say maybe never in one day. I don't know.
Still getting a little bit of hold up. Officiating crew having some words with the scores table. Now back to their own respective huddle.
Sorry, I'm looking for some names that I should know. Both current swim team members and then some of our former swimmers that are in the house. These events are always great because you get a lot of former swimmers who want to come back, and senior day, you get quite a lot of that as well, Joe. I mean, I think if you can't make all the events, you're probably going to make this one, or maybe senior day would be probably top 2 on your list, I would think.
Maybe homecoming.
There you go. That's a good point.
I don't think they had anything going on that day, though. I'm pretty sure they were just having some fun.
Yeah.
And we're off. Event number 3. the women's 1,000-yard freestyle. Let's give you a refresher because it's been some time since we introduced them. In lane 1, nobody. We go 2 from 8. Lane 1 is Mary Washington's Laney. Lynchburg in lane 3 with Adamets. Mary Wash in lane 4 with Dillman. Lynchburg in lane 5 with Hanks. Mary Washington in lane 6 with Klein. Lynchburg in lane 7 with Parrott. And Mary Washington in lane 8 with Candido. Right now, lane 2's Mary Washington. Laney out in front. Second place maintained by Dillman of the Eagles. Let's take a look at how these ladies have done for Mary Washington this season. They come in today with a record of 4-1-1 on the road at 500. They split them 1-1 with a win coming at Franklin and Marshall in Lancaster, Pennsylvania in dominant fashion, winning that one 179-83.
How about that tie on there with Randolph-Macon, 131-131, bang on draw in the pool. That, I assume that was incredibly exciting. And obviously if you have a tie, Joe, it's going to come.
Road came this season at W&L, one of the premier programs, not just in the ODAC, but in Division III. But those were the 2 ODAC schools that this Mary Washington team has faced this season. On the women's side, Lynchburg makes it number 3. They're 0-1-1 against ODAC schools, but right now they come in hot on a 4-game winning streak.
4-meet winning streak? Yeah, no, it is. It's really good swimming right now for Mary Washington. And I think, you know, obviously you'd like to win them all, but if you can win more at the end, that shows that you have been doing your preparation and building to the finish, a potential tournament run for some individuals in a national championship setting, potentially. Mary Wash out in front here, but again, still a lot to go. And you can see at the other end of the pool, the non-starting end, those teammates with the boards and giving you the laps that you're on, obviously. But then if you notice some movement on the boards, that can be talking about what pace you're on. So that's something to watch for. And again, 1,000 yards, I imagine you kind of black out in the pool a little bit there, as we've got 2 Mary Wash swimmers that are in front in lanes 4 and lane 6. That's Carly Dillman and Marina Klein leading the way right now.
Yeah, I feel like slow and steady really has to be the recipe. Obviously, we talked about strategy. You can come out guns a-blazing and try and really take a commanding lead and then just right answer.
And in these physical sports, physically demanding sports like swimming, people will tell you if you get gassed, you can never get it back. Like if you hit your limit, if you hit your wall, you're just going to be done. So you have to stay short of that limit at least until the very end, that final 50 or 100 yards.
Mary Washington right now controlling first, second, and third. The only 3 people that have made their turn now. That latter portion of the pool. Right now, Mary Washington really starting to create some separation in lanes 4 and 6. That's your A and B. Spearheading the attack.
Yeah, I think Briar Lane in lane 2 also swimming a pretty good.
And right now you potentially have 4 Eagles competing for the top 4 spots, and they make the first 4 turns.
Exactly.
So 4, 6, 2, 8 out in front.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you always have a situation where you're swimming against yourself as well, right? Sure, it's great to beat people. Everybody wants that. But you're also trying to beat your previous time. You're trying to get a time where maybe physically you feel like you should be at this time in the season. So we'll see some of that. It's a great sport in that regard, Joe, to where you can see a swimmer finish 5th in the race and they get out of the pool and they're fist pumping and they're thrilled because somebody tells them, hey, that's a PR for you. You just set a new record for yourself. So that's one thing to watch for, one of many things that you get to watch for. But you're right, as far as the race is concerned right now, truly dominant for Mary Wash at the moment in the even lanes. And I think that's what we got all day. Yeah, I think Mary Wash is going to be in the even lanes all day. Lynchburg is going to be in the odd lanes. I'm just scanning the lineups. So that'll make it a lot easier for us, the broadcasters, and the fans to know who is.
Hanks in lane 5 for Lynchburg. Set an 11:43.49 earlier this season. That is his second best time for Lynchburg this year in the women's 1,000 free. And third was Adamitz, who's in lane 3 for Lynchburg, and in fourth was Parrott, who was in lane 7. Those times no more than 13 seconds apart from each other.
Yeah, and you could tell from those times that we're over halfway in this race. So, again, this is a part where you've got your signals from the teammates. You know you're over halfway. If you're feeling good, you do start to pick up the pace right here. And ideally, that
for Klein in lane 6. She's got the second fastest time for the Eagles this season as well. That one was set against Franklin and Marshall in their dual meet rather than their invitational. She had a time of 11:24.50. So about 19 seconds quicker than Lynchburg's top swimmer in this event. And Dillman, who's sitting right up there in the top of the pack, swim an 11:27 at the same meet. So this is certainly one where Mary Washington has performed well in so far this season, with fantastic times. And if you go back a year ago, it was even more dominant for these two ladies as Carly Dillman had an 11:03 in the 1,000 free.
Yeah, I mean, and that's flying. And then some of that is the training. You taper it to the right time where you're feeling great, and then some of it is maybe just random. You just feel great that day in the pool. You know, I had a long talk last year with Coach Brad Dunn about how sometimes one pool can be faster than another. The subtle nuances of that. Yeah, I think a lot of it's temperature, but there's a few more factors that he talked about.
Do you think hot pools are quicker?
I think, yeah, but not too hot, I think is what he said. Like, it has to be a sweet spot, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, if Goldilocks is swimming, you know.
Right. Well, you know, you hear from the marathon runners, they don't want it too hot and too cold. You're not going to set a record when it's 90 outside. You're not going to set a record when it's 30 outside. So, there's definitely that sweet spot in there. And then what's going on outside matters, too, because, you know, you have those atmospheric conditions that can affect things in the pool. But, yeah, all those little – when you're talking about tenths of seconds and hundreds of thousands of seconds, all that stuff can matter. Even though it doesn't seem like it should matter. And I think probably it's a secondary factor or maybe a tertiary factor. Just wanted to get that word in there for the day. Yeah.
Well, we're just over 9 minutes in. Mary Washington in control. And right now it's actually lane 2 that is leading the charge. In Briar Laney.
Yeah, she was third for about the first, 6, 7, 8 laps. But she is one that seems to be feeling good and has accelerated her stroke rate as the race has gone on.
She set a personal best at the Franklin and Marshall Invitational a few weeks back with an 11:32.
We've got so many people coming in here, Joe. I just saw our wonderful president, Allison Morrison-Shetler, taking in the swimming. It really is a party vibe in here. As the race is starting to wrap up now. We're coming to a conclusion. I think one full trip left for kind of lost a little bit of track of the laps.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, it can happen. Yeah. So I think, yeah, in lane 2, you hear the bell there. I think in lane 2, this is the final trip down and back for Briar Laney.
Laney leading the way right now at 11:15. Looking to beat a personal best of 11:32.64.
She's got one more time down and back. I misspoke, Joe.
He's going to be right on the cusp of that time. And I think she's just going to miss it.
Lane 2 is on the far left of your screen on that previous camera angle. Well, still on the far left for that angle as well. Right there. Final turn.
Laney takes a time of 11:50.45.
I had it backwards again. Lane 2 is on the right of your screen, folks. Sorry. Not from this camera angle. My apologies.
It actually seems like Carly Dillman
Yep.
took home first with 11:29. Marina Klein with 11:36. And Briar Laney with 11:50.
Yeah, good call, Joe. Got my lanes backwards again.
I don't blame you.
Well,
I think we're all over the place.
I know, but I blame myself, even if you don't blame me. But thank you for that. Now the men's 1,000-yard freestyle. Ahmad Woodson will be one to watch for Lynchburg in lane 3. I believe his mom was over here talking to you. She's always she's an incredibly nice
wonderful lady.
Yep. And Ahmad's a great swimmer.
As Kyle mentioned, Ahmad Woodson for the Hornets in lane 3. Keegan Williamson for Lynchburg in lane 1. Evan Shelton for Mary Washington in lane 4. Jackson B. Holston in lane 5 for the Hornets. Brandon Harvey in lane 6 for Mary Washington. And Franco Gastali Fostrat in lane 7 for Lynchburg. But yes, Mrs. Woodson was over here. Very sweet. Every time we're here, she is over and making sure we're all good and squared away. And today she actually came over to let me know that she heard that I was in Ahmad's grad class.
Yeah.
We are 2 of 3 total students in the class. So apparently this week when you had to write a discussion post and then respond to 2 people, which is the entire class, Ahmad let his mom know. He's saying, I'm a little nervous that this guy's in my class.
That's great. That's great. What's the class?
Sport event management. So this week was all about building arenas and how to make them eco-friendly.
Nice. Oh, okay.
So that was the discussion post, and also with introducing yourself. And Ahmad told me he was cheering for the Hoosiers, my undergrad, this Monday.
There you go.
So that's a good sign that he's got the right mindset here to attack,
Absolutely.
to be fast, physical, and relentless.
Oh, man. If you had 12:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on your Hoosier reference, you can collect your He's got the long arms, broad shoulders. You can tell he's a swimmer.
Absolutely. And he has had a very strong collegiate campaign with the Lynchburg Hornets.
think his teammate, Jackson Holston, is out in front of him right now. It's another 1,000-yard freestyle. So it's another race that's going to take some time. Obviously not as much time as the women's race that we just had.
Holston has the top time for Lynchburg this season, swimming in 9:54.93 at the Cadet Invitational. Woodson was behind him by 18 seconds and 18 1/100th of a second, if we want to be precise, at that same swim meet. And then for Mary Washington on their men's side for the 1,000 free, Evan Shelton at a 10:31.22. And no times listed for Brandon Harvey. So we'll get a look at what the young 18-year-old has to offer today in his first 1,000 free.
Yeah, Brandon Harvey currently 6th of 6 in the pool. Back to Jackson Holston real quick. He's a first-year, Joe, freshman from Richmond, Virginia. I mean, wow, what a talent here. Leading the way so far. Race is not over, but you mentioned some earlier times for Jackson Holston. So impressive. Recruiting is a big part of swimming, just like every other sport, and it's a piece that Brad Dunn really understands. You got to grow your roster, but you want to bring in talented swimmers as well. Sounds like he's got one in Jackson Holston. Holston still leading the way in lane 5. He's got about a full 5-second advantage on lane 7. Another Lynchburg swimmer. That's Franco Gastaldi Fawcett. Let's learn more about Franco here as we watch him swim.
Four and a half minutes into the event.
Don't have Franco on my roster here. He's not on the roster.
Holston still leading the charge.
We start getting more events in, we can look at that team score and the team matchup. Nothing on the board yet. But, we've got something on the right side of our scoreboard, but that's an old event. That says men through event 22. That's how I know it's old, because we're only in event 4 today.
We'll see if we can get. They'll probably update that during the break.
Yeah, exactly right. It's always fun when the score does go up there because you get the crowd reaction. I think some of the most elite fans, Joe, are savvy enough to kind of track it as they go on. That's super difficult with all those swimmers and all those lanes and events. But yeah, occasionally you'll have somebody sitting in the stands that goes, yeah, I knew what the score was.
Well, I mean, you're the kind of guy that shows up to a baseball game with a scoreboard.
I do.
So, I mean,
I do.
Each their own.
But there's only there's only like one run at a time. Here you got to track who finished.
And it all happens at the same time. I mean, never more than 13 seconds apart. And that's for the 1,000. Once we get to that.
Oh, the 50 and the 100?
50 and 100, I mean, that's going to be cooking.
No shot. No shot, man. There's the entire men's lacrosse staff rolling in here. Maybe not the entire. But.
Last time I called a game and had I might need to invite Kudelka on at some point today, or else I'm going to get an earful again.
I mean, we had Holden Fiedler on. We need to have a cavalcade of stars guest scenario as Coach Kudelka's talking to Dawn Simmons, softball coach. Joe's got his eye on a different victim now.
Holston still holding on to first. He's been doing a great job just staying steady out in front. You can tell he's not putting his foot too far on the gas pedal, but certainly not letting up. It's been the same consistent pace the whole way through. Holston in first at 7:16. Franco for the Hornets in third, about 8 seconds behind the first place swimmer. And now we welcome on head coach Steve Kudelka making his broadcast debut. Coach Kudelka, welcome on.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome. Awesome to be your Code Red for the swim team.
I got a little bit of a hard time from you at the Wildcat Stadium for men's basketball for not inviting you on, so we had to get you in the mix this time around. Obviously, a Code Red affair, a great crowd today.
No doubt.
What can you tell us about Code Red and what it means for the whole Lynchburg Sports program?
Well, I think, over the last several years, these have only grown in popularity amongst our student athletes and students in general. And, I think it just speaks to just the University of Lynchburg, right, and the community that we have, and the students and faculty and staff just do a great job of showing up and supporting each other, no matter really what it is. But we're fortunate in athletics, obviously, to have a ton of just great home events that we can advertise and promote, and get everyone out to support the teams as best we can.
Obviously, a little bit of a different feel being indoor. Clock during a Saturday, but what can you tell us about what Code Red does for an atmosphere and also for the psyche of both players and coaches?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously for Coach Dunn and his student athletes, this is it's an awesome venue that we get to swim over here, and just to have the support of the students come over here for their swim meet is, I'm sure, encouraging for them in a great way. And then obviously on campus when we're basketball games in Turner or Schellenberger or baseball, softball facilities. I mean, it's awesome to have, just your best friends out there supporting you and rooting you on. And, we all work so hard to give and provide the best experiences we can. So having these home events is pretty awesome for the student athletes.
All right, Coach, I got to ask, if you were in this meet today, what's your event? What's your go-to?
Oh, goodness. As we were driving over here, assistant coach, Coach Sabella, said this is his first collegiate swim meet he's ever attended. So that was a pretty cool moment just to kind of, put him in this atmosphere. But I had the great fortune, all three of my kids swam all during the summers. And so
how about that?
My wife and I spent a lot of Monday nights, Peakland swim team, rooting on the Otters. But I don't know what my event would be. I'm more the person sitting on the pool deck rooting everybody on.
I can get behind that. Holston leading the charge, a personal best. He's going to fall just shy of it, but takes home a top place at 10:25. Ahmad Woodson finishes 3 seconds behind at 10:28.
That's awesome.
And in third, Mary Washington's Evan Shelton at 10:38. Well, Coach, that wraps up the men's 1,000-yard. We move to the women's 200 free. Thank you so much for hopping on.
You're welcome. Things
Excited.
speed up now, so
We've got
appreciate you having me.
Men's lacrosse getting underway in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's coming out pretty
Lenore
quickly.
Rhine, home game.
Yep,
or
next
home
weekend.
Scrimmage.
Next scrimmage next weekend, and then we got York the weekend after that, and then 3 weeks from today we're opening up against St. Mary's at home. So it should be exciting.
Great.
Thank you
so much,
Appreciate
Coach.
it.
All right, so now we turn to the women's 200-yard freestyle. For Lynchburg in lane 1, it'll be Morgan Jenkins. In lane 3, Sienna Schmeck. In lane 5, Lily Pfeiffer. In lane 7, in Soria. For Mary Washington, lane 2, Ava Rice, Sarah Brown, Kitty Moy Jacobs, and Ariana Portella in the 8th and final lane. 1 through 8 we go.
I don't know what all you and Coach K talked about there, but good result for Lynchburg in the men's 1,000-yard freestyle, Joe. Anytime you get the top 2, that's great, and you get 3 out of the top 4, that's how you can kind of keep track of that score in your head when those things happen. So that was a good race for Lynchburg team-wise.
Absolutely. Right now it's been a phenomenal day for the men so far. dominating through the first two events, but this is a long meet we've got on deck, so don't go counting your chips quite yet. Mary Washington out in front in lanes 4 and 6. No separation for third quite yet. The first place of Boy Kitty Jacobs turned with a time of 27:14. Now we're starting to see a little bit more separation in that pool. Boy Jacobs out in front, followed by Sarah Brown. Lynchburg's leader, Lily Pfeiffer, controlling third place. And at the turn, Sienna Schmeck beats her to the block. Half a second separation between third and fourth, both controlled by Lynchburg. Mary Washington right now handedly out in first. It's a race between Brown and Moy Jacobs. Those two separated by 0.06 of a second.
Much shorter distance here, so this is what we talked about, a little less strategy, and you can note that because you don't have the teammates with the boards over there. Oh, I thought Allison Morrison-Shetler, our president, wanted to pop on. She was just saying hello. But, yeah, 200 yards here. We're done with the long ones for a while. We'll go to event 21. We'll be back at a 500-yard distance. But for now, it's 200 and less for everything. This is event 5 of 28. So you hit on it there. Still a long way to go. And the Lynchburg women's team, you don't want to fall down too much. So looking for some good performances here.
Right there, that was a great performance for Mary Washington, taking first, second, and third. Sarah Brown with a time of 2 minutes, followed by Kitty Moy Jacobs. Those two not separated by more than 0.02 of a second. And rounding it out was Portilla with third place. Now the men take the blocks. Lanes 1 through 8 for Lynchburg. In lane 1, it's Andrew Nakulia. In 3, Adam Fisher. In lane 5, Jackson Holston. In lane 7, Mr. Eric Witt. For Mary Washington in lane 2, it's Kryzon. In lane 4, Seitz. Lane 6, Berkeley. In lane 8, Walker. Hornets out in front. Holston in lane 5, leading the charge. Holston around the turn with a time of 24:07. In second place, Mary Washington's Thomas Seitz at 24:70.
Think about what Holston just did, winning that 1,000-yard freestyle, Joe. He's right back in. I'm trying to see if we have any other names from that race in there. I think he's the only one. I mean, same stroke as well. So, again, those shoulders have got to be burning. He is just a freshman, too. So impressive.
Right now, he is a machine. Cutting through the water. Holston in first. In second, it's Thomas Seitz. In third, it's Lynchburg's Adam Fisher. Fisher catching some ground on Seitz. Holston to the wall with a turn. Around the turn, Holston in first, Fisher and Seitz battling for second. Seitz out in front. The crowd coming alive. A pair of Eagles now swarming in. Holston gonna take home first. 4 swimmers battling for second. And it's Lynchburg's Adam Fisher coming from behind. Thomas Seitz takes third. Tucker Berkeley takes fourth for the Eagles. But once again, it's 2 top 3 finishes for the men for Lynchburg.
What a race by Fisher. Holston holding on. That was very impressive, but you nailed it. That come from behind by Adam Fisher. Fantastic swimming there at the end. Lynchburg needed that. Men's team in good shape. Really, we're getting to see that the Mary Washington women's team starting to establish themselves as the leader in this meet. Lynchburg men on that side with a long way to go.
Now heat number 2. It's Max Carrico for Lynchburg in lane 1, Devin Tapia for Lynchburg in lane 3, Zach Hubbard in lane 5, and Christopher Bergeron in lane 7. 4 Hornets all in heat number 2. And a wide variety of classes. I mean, you got an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 23-year-old.
Yes, we get the ages. You and I were talking about that, but on the entry sheet, you get the age there, so it's something fun to look at. And you're right, there is they can talk about what was things like when you were growing up, Max Carrico. No, that's what people say to me. That's what people say to me.
Hey, I'm 24 and I get that too. So.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't get any better.
I'm getting older now.
You're going to continue to get it as, hey, here's a good line. You'll never be as young as you are today. And that's true for all of us.
I like that.
Yeah. Coming up, women's 100-yard backstroke. That'll be exciting. You'll have some names from Lynchburg that I think a lot of our fans know. As we get the men's volleyball team cruising in to check things out for a little bit. They're headed out the door. They must have a practice coming up here. Some people do have other things going on these Code Red Saturdays, but really cool that everybody makes a point to at least stop by and check in on the action, see what swimming's all about. I would think a lot of kids, when they go to college, have never seen a swim meet before, so this is a new experience for a lot of people.
That's actually what Coach Kudelka said about new grad assistant for Lynchburg, Coach Christopher DeBellis. He's saying he's a Fairfield guy. I'm not sure if they've got a swim program up there, and he's saying this is the first swim meet he's ever been to. Meanwhile, Kudelka with 3 kids said he's been to a whole bunch of swim meets.
He's been to so many different things. Our president, Allison Morrison Shetler, does she want to come on and talk to the fans? It's a yes. You got it, Joe.
Hello.
Good afternoon, Madam President. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm well. Let me formally introduce myself. I'm Joe. Nice to meet you.
Joe, good to see you.
Well, so far, so good. Today's been a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of festivities. What can you tell us about your favorite aspects and elements of a Code Red contest?
Well, any contest, Code Red, is always awesome because look how many students are here from all the different teams, and that's what I love about our community. We're all here to support each other, and I personally come to almost every single natatorium visit I possibly can.
There you go.
So I know to dress lightly when you're in here and get ready to be cold when you get outside, but I just love the atmosphere. I love the support, and you can't ask for better when you see this amount of red.
I love it. I'm right there with you. Dressing lightly is kind of the secret key. You show up here on a cold day in a sweatsuit, it might not be the best time.
Not at all, not at all. But again, great atmosphere.
Well, do you have any background with swimming?
I do, so I have a little story there. I'm actually a sailor, and I love to sail, and I grew up on an island on the west coast of Scotland.
How about that?
And I wanted to learn to sail so bad. My dad said, yeah, you can learn to sail, you can go to the sailing club, but you have to be able to swim a mile. I won't tell you what date and year that was. It took me the whole summer, but I got a certificate for a mile, and then that's how my dad let me learn to sail.
Well, the longest event we've got today is the 1,000 yard,
yeah,
a mile over 1,700 yards.
Thank you. I'm glad you still know how many yards are in a mile.
I've got my laptop. We'll be transparent. But how about that?
Yeah. So, but otherwise, I'm not a swimmer.
I mean, at least he's not making you do it backstroke.
No.
Butterfly.
No, not at all. Not at all. Anyway, that's all good. So I love this. I love the teams. They're doing so well. I'm seeing the relay going on. Of course, these are long. Now we're back to the shorter things. It's really great to just be here. And again, the atmosphere is fabulous.
Just wrapped up event number 7. Now heading to 8 for the men's 100-yard backstroke. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Lau Miller, Caton in lane 3, Brooks Henry, in lane 5, Owen Howery in lane 7, and Kesley in lane 9. For Mary Washington in lane 2, it's Mahoney. Lane 4, Storer. Lane 6, Johnson. Lane 8, Stikes. And you do have a background somewhat in swimming. Do you have a favorite event that we've got going on today?
I must admit, I do like the relays.
Okay.
They're exciting. It's great to see. But really, every event is great. I just love seeing the competitive spirit and the strength of our team. And, you know, Brad Dunn's just an amazing coach and does an amazing amount of work with the team. So I love it all because our students are competing.
Absolutely. And it's so great to see the support, as you've mentioned. Brooks Henry takes home first place for the Hornets. Mary Washington's Restore in second. Those two separated by 2.7 seconds. And then in third place, it's Mary Washington's Sam Mahoney. So for the first time today, Lynchburg does not clinch 2 spots out of the top 3 in an event. And Mary Washington able to slowly chip away. Now we move to the women's 100-yard breaststroke for event number 9. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Craddock. Lane 3 in Fleener. Lane 4 in McHall. In lane 7, Marietta. And lane 9 in Zirkle. For Mary Washington in lane 2, it's Kerner. Lane 4 in Clifford. Lane 6 in Kryson. And lane 8 in McCran. And this is when it starts heating up a little bit. We had the 1,000. Now we're getting in these little bit quicker ones. It's starting to move a little bit for us.
It is. It is. I just also want to say I'm so appreciative of the parents that are here.
Absolutely.
During the longer ones, I'm able to get a little bit more to talk with them. But I just want to say the parental support for our sports is amazing. And swimming, it is just fabulous to see everybody.
Thank you so much for hopping on. It was a pleasure to get the chance to talk to you. I'm now going to turn things back over to our analyst, Kyle.
Okay, good to see you.
So
Thanks
great
so
to have you
much.
on.
Take care, everybody, and go Hornets.
Hell yeah. We got a whole slew of guest speakers coming on today. That's guest speaker number 3, and I've got the feeling it's not going to be the last one either.
It shouldn't be the last one. But you don't get to have all the fun. Let me get the next guest speaker.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got you.
Maybe I should reserve the right to change that, actually. No, I'm kidding. We, our president, you talk about, I know some other schools have this, but she's at so many sporting events. It's incredible. And the kids see it. The coaches see it. I just love it. She's a big sports fan, too. I mean, she said that. I'm not just here for the optics. I like this stuff. That's what she told me one time.
I like to hear that.
Did she swim at all? Did you ask her that?
You know, so grew up on an island outside of Scotland.
Yes, yep,
and
I
grew
knew
up
that.
a big sailor.
Yeah.
So her dad told her she had to.
You better know how to swim, right?
I apologize to the viewers for repeating it, but
No.
but I got a
Thank
feeling.
you.
I mean, this is wild.
Yeah.
Her dad told her before she could go sailing on her own, had to be able to swim a mile.
Yeah.
Which is 1,700 yards at 6 years old.
At 6 years
At
old?
6 years old,
That
as
is
a
great
kindergartner.
story. I'm glad you repeated that. Wow.
I
That's
mean,
why
I
she's in
could
such
do that
good
now.
shape. Yeah. That's why she's in good shape now. My parents should have made me swim a mile at age 6. I should start. I should get in the pool sometime soon.
This is one of my personal favorites.
yeah.
We've got the 100-yard breaststroke
Yep.
going on right now. For Lynchburg, it's Watterson in 1, Page in 3, Bambrick in 5, Olson in 7. For Mary Washington, Ryushkushi in 2, Zimmerman in 4, Berkeley in 6, Rojas in 8.
Yeah, it's a fantastic event because I think it's one of the higher skilled strokes. Not everybody, but look, most of us know how to do a freestyle. That's just kind of how you figure it out. It's kind of one of the easiest ways to swim. But this breaststroke is a little bit different. It takes a lot of time to figure this thing out and to get really good at it.
Right now, Mary Washington, Zimmer out in front in lane 4. A fight for second place between Bambrick and Berkeley in 5 and 6. And Mary Washington, for back-to-back events, takes first and second. With Ryan Bambrick. I mean, those times so close together, but Jonathan Zimmer able to create just enough separation.
Yeah, good close-up there. Zimmer, the only one getting it done in under a minute as well. Really good time there. And that's what Mary Washington's men's side needs to start fighting back in this event because we both think they're down on the cards. It's like a boxing match. You can't see the judges' cards until the end.
I think at this point they're probably tied.
You're right, though. After those events, that's a good point.
Those two finishes.
Yep.
I would assume that Mary Washington has a slight edge on the women's side, neck and neck on the men's portion. Right now, Heat 2, it's Barreto della Savia in lane 3 and Austin Newsom in lane 5. On deck, we've got the women's 200-yard butterfly. I think that's got to be one of the more exhausting events out of all this. I think I'd rather swim the 1,000 free than a 200 butterfly.
That's it. You make an interesting point right there. I'm not disagreeing with your point either. I'll tell you that. This is, it's again, such a, I don't know, I want to say party atmosphere, but I don't know if party atmosphere is right. Community, connective atmosphere.
Absolutely.
Connected kind of a thing.
Connectivity.
Connectivity is a great word. I can't wait to get you another guest. I'm scanning around here. Peyton doesn't want to come on. He's busy with some volleyball or something.
Sorry. He's dressed like he's got AT going on today.
Oh, that's true. He might. Yeah, he could give us something from the athletic training side.
You want to talk to Peyton for a second?
You want to?
I don't think he wants to.
Going to decline the interview as we get set now for. It is event number 11, correct? Women's 200-yard butterfly.
In lane 1 for the Hornets, it's Gilbert. In lane 2, Leach. In lane 5, Grieve. In lane 7, it's Hanks once again. For the Eagles, in lane 2, Siraj. In lane 4, Dillman. In lane 6, Savak. In lane 8, Graf. We've seen Dillman and Hanks today. They both had a really strong performance in their first event of the day.
Yeah, Reagan Leach, one of my personal favorites. She used to do some things with us on LHSN, the Lynchburg Hornets Sports Network. I believe it's her first event of the day. Leach is in lane 3 right now for Lynchburg. Currently lane 5, Charlotte Grieve. Best time so far in the pool.
Grieve had a 2:15.90 at the Cadet Invitational earlier this year. That's the top time for the Hornets this season. For the Eagles, in the pool right now, Dillman has had the top time at the Mary Washington and Frostburg dual meet earlier this year at 2:16.26. So a separation of about 0.3 of a second between the top times so far this season. Grieve right now holding first place. Commanding thus far out in front. Made the turn at 1:22. About 3 seconds out in front of our second place swimmer in Dillman. And now you've got Savak making a strong push down the straightaway. Lynchburg in first, second and third maintained by Mary Washington.
I think Grieve is pulling away from Dillman a bit, but Savak has now pulled ahead of her teammate Dillman, currently showing second position.
Grieve makes the turn. Now it feels like you've got Dillman and Savak neck and neck. And Lynchburg takes home first with Grieve, a time of 2:19 and 2:20 for both Dillman and Savak. Dillman with a separation of 0.7 over Savak. Fourth place controlled by Lindsay Hanks.
Carly Dillman, she did well to fight off her teammate Audrey Savak there. Charlotte Grieve was out in front early and she ends up winning, although not without a fight, Joe. Everything seems to get close at the end. That's what makes it so exciting. I'm going to try to get John Waters as your next guest.
I think that's all you.
It could be. Could be.
I
did ask for it too, right? Yeah. Yeah. So don't use my words against me.
Men's 200 fly. In lane 1 for Lynchburg, it's Cooper. In lane 3, Fiore. In lane 5, Marshall. In lane 7, Fuelling. For Mary Washington, in lane 2, Green. In lane 4, Almarietto. In lane 6, Stern. And in lane 8, Walker. Through the first stretch, a battle going on between lane 4 and 5 with Almarietto of Mary Washington and Marshall for Lynchburg. Those two neck and neck right now at the head of the pack. In third, a fight going on in lane 3 and 6 between Fiore and Stern of Lynchburg and Mary Washington. One final time back and forth.
Good race here. This is going to come down to the finish, isn't it, Joe?
Absolutely. Some momentum for Almarietto.
Marshall's close, though.
Marshall had a time of 1:55 earlier this year. Almarietto's best time of 1:58. Right at the wall. I misspoke. One more time back and forth. Crowd starting to heat up.
Yeah,
both swimmers with a chance to come away with a personal best this year.
Almarietto and Marshall, the only two that are going to win this race. Could be some tight battles for fourth, maybe.
Almarietto out in front, heading towards the wall. The touch for first place. Lynchburg takes second, and in third, it'll be Andrew Fiore. Lynchburg takes 2 and 3. Mary Washington takes 1 and 4.
And Stern actually did pulling away there a bit for fourth. Patrick Stern from Mary Washington. Good race there.
That takes us to event 13 of today's battle, the women's 50-yard freestyle. This is when it gets quick.
Yeah, you blink and you miss these sometimes, and we're almost halfway through. After the men's 50-yard free, we'll reach that halfway point with 28 events listed. Yeah, this can be good right here.
For Lynchburg in lane 1, Champagne, Schmeck in 3, Shore in 5, Soria in 7, and Takas in 9. For Mary Washington in lane 2, Corcos in lane 4, Higgins in lane 6, Fallen in lane 8, Robinson. We are out and swimming. Lynchburg in first place. It's Shore leading off the turn. Shore in control. Shore takes first. Second place goes to Schmeck in lane 3. And Mary Washington's Higgins takes third. Fallen rounds out the order for fourth. How about the times?
A little fist bump there from lane to lane. Sophie Shore, what a talent.
24:74, the winning time for Shore.
Men's 50 is always so much fun. You're going to have about 6 hands touching the wall simultaneously here.
For Lynchburg, it's Gonzalez in lane 1, Andrews in lane 3, Dacus in lane 5, and Caton in lane 7. For Mary Washington in lane 2, Kaizen in lane 4, Roundtree in lane 6, Polvacek in lane 8, Kim. Cooking out of the gates. In lane 4, it's Roundtree out in front. Trailing behind him is Andrews in lane 3. Roundtree at the finish line, got first, and what a finish from Tyler Caton to come in second place What a push it was on the last 25 yards on that from Caton. Third place goes to Polvacek in lane 6, and Dakis for the Hornets in 4th.
Such a fun event, and so often, Joe, the winner is going to come from lanes 3 through 6, right? Well, that tells you what kind of a race the 50-yard free is when second place can come from lane 7 there. A lot of that is reaction time, too. In those longer races, the reaction doesn't matter quite as much. You're going to have laps and laps to make that up. In those 50-yard races, you got to really get off quick on the buzzer, and Caton did that there. Sam Roundtree, race winner for Mary Wash.
That will take us to our first intermission of the day. We'll return with an update on the scorecard. It's a party inside Liberty Natatorium. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Dual meet between the Hornets and the Eagles. And we welcome you back inside Liberty Natatorium in the Hill City. It's a code red contest between the Lynchburg Hornets and the Mary Washington Eagles. Still no update on the score, but we'll relay it to you as soon as it gets up here to the press box. Joe Brennan now joined by former Lynchburg swimmer, none other than Mr. Zach Bennett, as we get ready for the women's 100-yard freestyle. In lane 1 for the Hornets, Zirkle. In lane 3, Schmeck. In lane 5, Shore. In lane 7, Soria for the Eagles. In lane 2, Fallen. In lane 4, Moore Jacobs. In lane 6, Carr. In lane 8, Higgins. After the initial turn, Mary Washington out in front in lane 4 with Moy Jacobs, already with one victory today. After 50 yards, Mary Washington controls first and second place with Schmeck in third for Lynchburg. Zach, what was your main event when you were swimming with the Hornets?
I did a bit of everything. I did the mile, I did the 4 IM, I did the 2 breast. I, at some point, did every single event offered in my 4 years of swimming.
How about that? Well, right now, it is Moy Jacobs putting on a clinic today in the freestyle category for Mary Washington, but a good burnout from Lynchburg in lane 5 and 3 as Shore and Schmeck take second and third. That'll help Lynchburg climb back into it here on the women's side. Now we move to Heat 2. Mary Washington in lane 2 with Robinson, in lane 4 with Timmons, in lane 6 with Portella. For Lynchburg, Champagne in lane 3 and Takas in lane 5. Well, Zach, is there any kind of strategy that really comes into effect when you have these short distance, or is it just go, go, go?
It's really just go, go, go. A lot of it is, I know in practice, a lot of the sprint group, they do a lot of work kind of making sure they get little fine details correct. So coming off the walls really strong, hitting their underwaters, and kind of getting up under the wave and kind of eliminating as much drag as possible.
Okay, when you talk about getting under the wave, for the average Joe that might not be.
So in swimming, every time you do a flip turn,
yes, sir,
your goal is to try and get under the wave that your kick will create going into the turn. And so you want to try and flip turn and push off and get as many underwaters as possible to try and get under that wave and any drag that you might run into coming back the opposite direction.
So the kick turn in these shorter events is really the secret sauce.
They're really the make or break.
Okay,
especially
I like that.
In that 50 freestyle that we saw earlier.
Well, this time around for the women's 100 free, it's Portella in first, Timmons in second, and Champagne of the Hornets in third. Now we move to the men's 100 freestyle. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Caden. In lane 3, it's Gastilida. Fawcett in lane 5, Dacus in lane 7, Andrews. For Mary Washington in lane 2, Roundtree. In lane 4, Mahoney. In lane 6, Harvey. And in lane 8, Polvacek. Mahoney had a time of 47:24 at the Franklin and Marshall Invitational. Dacus had a time of 48:16 for Lynchburg at the Cadet Invitational. Mary Washington out in front. Here's the turn. Going underwater right there. You see the big time kick coming out of lane 3 for the Hornets in Galdasti Fawcett. And a strong push on the outside of the pool in lane 2. Sam Roundtree, who's already had a strong day thus far, looking to add to it. And he's going to take home first place. First, second, third for Mary Washington. Roundtree in first, Mahoney in second, and Harvey in third. That's a dominant performance for Mary Washington.
That is.
That'll take us to Heat 2. Lynchburg in lane 3, 5, and 7. No Mary Washington Eagles present. It's Cooper, Kesley, and Barreto della Savia in that order from near to top. Well, Zach, what have been your main takeaways this far? I'm not exactly sure how long you've been here, but we're 16 events through out of the total 28.
I think they look really strong. I think everyone's kind of getting back into the swing of things. I know they just got back from a really hard training trip with some really challenging practices, and so I think everyone's kind of figuring out their groove of where they're at in the season. And I think comparatively, kind of in the past, I know when I swam, that was always a really tough time, especially with classes starting back, kind of getting back into the swing of things. I know everyone's pretty tired, pretty broken down, and looking really forward to a lot of taper and looking for a lot of rest and practice. So I think this is kind of that time of year where everyone's kind of just puts their head down and kind of just does what they need to do in the pool and kind of outside the pool to make sure they're setting themselves up for success for when it comes time for ODACs and kind of hitting our peak at the right time. So I think right now, watching a lot of the races, they look really on track to kind of do that and have done a really good job of I know I talked to Brad recently and he said that training trip went really, really well, and I know he said it was kind of the best they've looked this point in the season in a long time, and so I think he's really excited, and I think a lot of the team is excited to kind of see what they can do and kind of what peaks they'll hit at ODACs.
Obviously, this is a relatively young program.
Yes.
Competing in their 7th season. Building rivalries is one big thing in collegiate sports and all of sports, in that matter of fact. Obviously, with Director of Men and Women's Swimming, Brad Dunn, this one's got a little bit of extra oomph.
Absolutely.
With it playing against his former alma mater. What non-conference opponents as a swimmer for Lynchburg did you oftentimes look forward to racing against?
I think Mary Washington was always a big one. I know that first meet when we would exhibition Liberty every season was always an exciting one, just kind of see where the team was at. It was always a really fun point for all of the incoming freshmen to kind of get their first collegiate meet under their belt. And then I know one that we always look forward to was kind of all the different schools we would race at our mid-season meet. Whether that was, I know Barton was usually one that was a lot of ours, and then a couple other schools were always at our mid-season meets. So it was a lot of excitement to kind of race some D2 schools and some other D3 schools that we don't compete against. But I know Mary Washington was always definitely our big one that we looked forward to the most, just because I know we always knew that it was Brad's alma mater, and kind of there was always that personal aspect to it, especially when we would go in some of their pools. So it was definitely exciting to kind of look forward to their meets especially.
Well, obviously today has been a very competitive dual meet between these two parties. Right now, you would think that Mary Washington has a slight edge over Lynchburg. In this current event, it's McMullen leading the charge for Mary Washington in first. In second, Sarah Green in lane 2. In third, Mary Washington's Hannah Zaharaj. The Hornets leading candidate in lane 4, or pardon me, in lane 5 with Lindsay Hanks. McMullen creating a little bit of separation. McMullen makes the turn in lane 4, followed by Sarah Green in lane 2. Then Siraj in lane 8. Hanks followed by Parrott in lane 7. Those are the two leading attackers right now for Lynchburg.
Now, you know, Joe, watching this event always scares me a little bit because unpopular opinion, and I think any swimmer listening to this will understand, but a lot of people will say that the mile is the hardest, the 2 fly is the hardest, but I've always thought that the 200 backstroke is one of the hardest events because it absolutely destroys your legs. And so I think any swimmer will really understand that, but it's definitely just one of those events where you just keep going until it's over. But it's one of those events that in my times that I did get to swim it, it was always one of those ones that I get so nervous for. So I always have a lot of respect for the swimmers who can do it and do it really well. Like I know a couple of girls in that race are really good at it and do a great job of kind of working the race strategy behind it and kind of making sure that they hit their underwaters and have a good steady kick the whole way.
Mary Washington takes first and second in that event. A critical push from Hanks on the final 25 yards to surpass Siraj and take third. Beats her by 0.03 of a second. Now we go to the men's side for the 200 back, pardon me. For Lynchburg in lane 1, it's Hubbard. In lane 3, Fisher. In lane 5, Mr. Eric Witt. In lane 7, Ben Laumiller. In lane 8, Devin Tapia. For Mary Washington, in lane 2, it's Walker. In lane 4 is Seitz. In lane 6 is Johnson. And in lane 8 is Green. Off the blocks and through the first 50, it's a battle between Witt and Sykes. Nathan Walker also putting on a strong effort out in lane 2. Now he's out in front. You know, you mentioned the kicking, and I think that's one thing that can oftentimes go under the radar is the backstroke far and away the most important event on your legs.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think especially when you start getting into, for example, the individual medleys, I know backstroke can sometimes be treated as like your little rest within the race, but it's still really important to make sure you're keeping that kick steady and making sure you're not getting too far behind. I know that was one issue I always ran into when I was swimming those types of races, but I know the guys in our team, especially our backstroke group, we have the running joke that we're backstroke you, and we have some really good backstrokers that have been pretty consistent and placed pretty high at our ODAC conference meet. And so, like I know Eric, for example, he does a great job of kind of keeping that kick steady, getting under the water, has some great underwaters, but making sure that he kind of keeps that tempo up as well, because that's another really important factor within the backstroke as well.
Eric Witt's going to need to hit the burners right here to try and get at the top of the leaderboard. A 3-horse race down the final stretch. It's Walker, Seitz, and Witt in that order. Separation under a second between those three, but it's a top 2 placement for the Eagles. After Lynchburg started this meet very strong on the men's side, the Eagles starting to fight their way back into it. That takes us to event number 19. Or pardon me, I jumped the gun. Heat 2. It is not listed in our heat sheet, but Zach Hubbard for Lynchburg in lane 4, Devin Tapia in lane 5. And Zach, one thing that we've been talking a whole lot about is the support coming here today for this Code Red affair. How have you seen the support, not just on Code Reds, but for the entire program develop over the course of 7 years?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely crazy and very surreal to witness the kind of evolution since. So I started on the team back in 2019, was part of the inaugural class, and I remember very distinctly our very first ODAC meet when we had our first Code Red was really interesting because we were a team full of freshmen and we hadn't really branched out across campus. We didn't know many people in terms of the other teams, so it was really cool to experience at that point kind of all the different teams come out and support us. But I think over the years, kind of as the team's grown in size drastically and just kind of the way that we've developed as a team, kind of making friends across campus and whatnot too, it's really cool to kind of see the support from all different aspects, all different teams. I know this is one meet that our team always looked forward to a lot just because it was really nice to kind of pack the natatorium. I know swimming can all the hard work we put into it was definitely really rewarding and very fulfilling, especially to have those friends that come to the meets and kind of cheer us on was always very, very refreshing.
And today it's been nothing short of a whole lot of red in the house. Support across the board. We've seen almost every team in attendance today. Obviously, no. Today, men's basketball taking on Hampton-Sydney. Women's basketball on the road as well.
You know, bringing up that fact of also just the way in which when we started as a program, we obviously had no alumni, and it's also been really cool to come back and watch a lot of the meets, and kind of as the classes have graduated year after year, I know we're all really excited for our senior meet next in the coming weeks. So I know there's a group of us that are coming back for that as well to kind of support the senior classes. This is our last class that a lot of us that started the program swam with, and so it's been a very full circle moment to kind of come and support them and cheer them on, because I know without them kind of carrying on those legacies and traditions we started, this team definitely probably wouldn't progress in the way that it's definitely succeeded. So it's been really cool to kind of witness that as well.
Obviously a whole lot of support from the alumni, as you mentioned, for Code Red, but that Battle of the Burg will be a very fun one, the final home meet of the regular season for Lynchburg in the 25-26 campaign. Women's 200 breast underway. In lane 2 for Mary Washington, it's Graf. Lane 4, Clifford. Lane 6, Laney. Lane 8, Kerner for the Hornets. In lane 3, Fleener. In lane 5, Schneider. In lane 7, Morgan Jenkins. Mary Washington's Clifford in front in lane 4. A pair of Hornets behind her on each respective side, with Fleener and Schneider.
To watch was the two breasts, just because it really can kind of change at any point throughout the race. So kind of who takes over the lead, who doesn't hit a good pull out, and so it's really kind of anyone's game at certain points.
When you say a good pull out, it's the same thing as the wave. I need you to.
So in breaststroke, off of every wall, you can do a pull out where basically it kind of will keep you under the water a little bit longer, but it's also that point in the stroke where you're at your highest rate of speed. And so making sure you're pulling down right away as quick as possible, as well as kind of hitting your glides as long as possible. It really kind of maxes your speed without hopefully having to minimize your full effort, to where you can kind of keep some of that to save it when the race gets longer and longer and you're kind of getting more tired as it goes on. So I know, for example, kind of especially if they're a lot closer races, whoever can come off that last wall and have the best pull out usually is the one who's going to hit the race and win it. So it's always kind of exciting to see who can kind of really work that throughout the race.
So you would call this the most volatile out of all the events we've got today?
Probably.
Where it's just dynamic and things can change in a blink of an eye. And right now our leader in lane 4, that lead that she had built earlier on. Hornets catching up. Fleener and Schneider on her tail. But she'll have enough juice in the tank to take home first. Did have Schneider cut about a second off of that lead. Takes home a second place time of 2:31. Fleener in third at 2:32. It's a big separation between third and fourth of about 18 seconds. Fourth place going to Byron Laney in lane 6. And now we head to the men's portion. Men's 200-yard breaststroke. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Watterson. In lane 3, Fiore. In lane 5, Page. In lane 7, Olson. In lane 9, Newsom. For Mary Washington, in lane 2, Rojas. In lane 4, Zimmer. In lane 6, I apologize, I'm going to butcher it, Biroshkowski. You want to give it a whirl?
I probably would butcher it as well.
In lane 8, a little bit easier, Kim.
There you go.
Biryalchetsky. I'm going to give up.
I think you got it.
I think maybe. We'll call him Eorv, going by a first-name basis. Ethan Kim out in first place, followed by Jonathan Zimmer and Logan Page. Well, this is a Lynchburg squad that's got a whole lot of young talent. That's one big thing. The women's side brought in a very big recruiting class. Meanwhile, the men, obviously there are some great recruits in that mix as well, but it seems as though it's more so the developing of young talent that has stood out this season on the men's portion.
Definitely, and I think it's especially evident in this race. I know I swam with Ashton Watterson out in lane 1, and my senior year, he was a freshman and really pushed me, and kind of seeing him and the rest of the senior guys kind of leading that charge of making sure the guys buy into the program, and kind of we've slowly but surely been catching W&L at conferences each year, and kind of seeing the way that's developed, and kind of watching, like, I know Logan in lane 5 has also been really cool, because I know he had a really great ODAC championship meet last year, and kind of seeing that progress and that involvement really has paid off. I mean, clearly right here, he's having a great race so far. But I know it's definitely, like you said, it's really cool to kind of witness that evolution from the guy's side, kind of seeing that involvement year after year of how those freshmen come in and progress all the way up to their senior year even.
Zimmerman has overtaken the lead, passing by Page at the previous turn. It's a 2-horse race for the top of the board. Zimmerman first, Page in second, Eeyore in third. In lane 6, coming towards the final stretch. At the final wall, first place goes to Jonathan Zimmer with a time of 2:13.05. Page takes second at 2:14.77. And Mary Washington once again puts 2 swimmers on the podium in top 3, with Ethan Kim rounding out the order with a time of 2:17.07. Now we move to event 21, the women's 500-yard freestyle. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Mariana in lane 3, Grieve in lane 5, Pfeiffer in lane 7, Adamets. For the Eagles in lane 2, Kryzon in lane 4, Moy Jacobs in lane 6, Rice, and in lane 8, Candido. Kryzon with a team best this season of 5:16. Meanwhile, for the Hornets, Pfeiffer with a 5:21 at the Cadet Invitational. Kryzon in lane 2, out ahead of the pack. You know, so often you're going to see these winners 3 through 6, but we've had a handful of races today where the top swimmer on a team has been in lane 2 or lane 7 and come away with a win.
Absolutely. And I think, like I said earlier, it kind of goes back to where everyone's kind of just at in their season. I know mid-season for a lot of these teams is a really kind of good telling point of where you're at kind of in terms of your strength and where you're at kind of with your times for the year. But I think once we kind of get back from training camp and kind of start going back into a couple last-minute dual meets before conferences, this is kind of where a lot of true champions, as Brad always would tell us, would start to show up, because it's kind of people who are still putting in some really hard work at practice but are still kind of producing those times that they did at midseason that they can kind of back up no matter what point of the year they're at.
How would you describe the change of pace throughout a swim meet? Because if you look at the 50 free, obviously someone's going to have a time of 25 seconds. The 100 free are right around 52 seconds. So obviously that exhaustion, that fatigue plays a little bit of a factor. Is there, you want 30 seconds per 50? Does that change when you get to the 450 versus the 250 mark?
Yeah, so I mean, ultimately, I think no matter what, we obviously want our teammates to swim as fast as possible to kind of get the races that they want, the times that they want. But it is kind of nice just like getting the extra bit of warm down time. So I know it's always not the most exciting for spectators, but I know us swimmers will love getting a break every once in a while, just in between races to warm down, kind of get a good rest in between our races. Because I know personally speaking, this 500 was one that I swim almost every meet of my collegiate career. So while a lot of my teammates were kind of in the warm down pool getting some extra rest, I was swimming as much as possible throughout my 20 laps in the water. But I think a lot of the team appreciates these distance events in the sense that we kind of have a lot of back-to-back really quick races, and then we get some downtime with some of these longer events especially.
But
so.
for someone that's in the pool right now,
Yeah.
when it's your second time up and back versus your fifth time
Yeah.
up and back, I mean, your second time up and back, are you saying to yourself, I want to do this in 30 seconds, and that fifth time I want to do it in 37 seconds? I mean, is there a change
So there's a lot of strategy with the distance events just because the ultimate goal is, we call it pacing, so you want to try and keep the best pace possible. So I know that's one thing that we work on a lot in our practices. I know for Lynchburg, when I was on the team, our Monday afternoon practices were always our distance sets. And so we did a lot of work kind of doing rep 50s of whether that was 10 at a time, 20 at a time, and kind of some longer distance swims as well, where we were trying to do those over and over again to try and maintain the same pace and not get as tired as well. So I know we definitely wanted to try and maintain that throughout the race, and so that's one thing that we would do a lot of the times to kind of make sure that we were prepped for all of our in-meet scenarios as well.
just doing some sign language
Yeah.
with the pair of swimmers, asking for a post-meet interview.
No, definitely. Get them up here. They're great.
That'll be interesting. And Zach, I might say, you know, if admissions isn't something you want to stick in, I think broadcasting might be a real avenue you could explore.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
I mean, we used to have a former swimmer and a former lacrosse player in Chris Jennings, who was an assistant with the swim program,
Chris.
do color commentary for all the lacrosse games, and he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't necessarily have the voice for it, but he certainly had the knowledge for it.
There you go. No, he probably is definitely watching you at home say that.
I know he is. I got a text message this morning from my former partner. From Chris Jennings, a guy that's now down south living in Tampa, that he was a very big part of this program and the men's lacrosse program as well. And, you know, he actually gave me a little secret before my interview with Brad, talking about the swamp and how his claim to fame at Mary Washington was giving that facility the nickname of the swamp.
Yep.
I'm sure you heard that story from him as well.
I have heard that story.
He seemed quite proud of himself, and I don't blame him.
No, it was always a lot of fun. Anytime we swam at Mary Washington, he'd always tell the story over again. So it was cool to see the underclassmen's kind of reactions to that.
5.5 minutes into the 500-yard. And that's where we will find Maddie Kreisen with a first-place finish, followed by another Eagle in Katie Moy Jacobs, who's had an excellent performance today. And Lily Pfeiffer in third for the Hornets, and Charlotte Grieve takes fourth. Now we transition to event number 22 today. After Charlotte Marietta finishes up the women's 500, we move to the men's 500 with the Hornets in lane 1 with Williamson, lane 2 with Woodson, lane 5 with Holston, and lane 7 with Gestaldi Fawcett. Mary Washington in lane 2 is Shelton. In lane 4, Almeriento. In lane 6, Berkeley. And lane 8, Green. Out and away. Yeah, walk me through the ins and outs of that jump off the block.
Yeah, so a start can really kind of be make or break depending on the race. I know these longer events, it's not necessarily as important as some of your sprint events, just because I know my biggest concern when I was doing all of my distance events was that I just didn't want my goggles to fall off and get a lot of water in them. So I know personally speaking, and maybe this isn't a great thing to admit, but my starts were a little bit more safer than when I was doing some of my sprint events. But I know that 50 freestyle, you want to get off the blocks as quick as possible, and I know our sprint group and Brad does a great job of kind of doing a lot of reaction work at practice, and so they'll do kind of different workouts to where they're really kind of testing that speed off the block, and then kind of making sure they're getting as much strength off the block as possible too. So when the swimmers put their legs up on that kind of the back fin there, they really want to drive that force straight off the block right away, and kind of I know in my time coaching summer league and kind of hearing from different coaches, one of the big things too is you don't necessarily want to go straight down. I know that kind of defeats the purpose. So making sure even in lifts with Coach Smith, we do a great job of kind of doing different workouts to build our leg strength too, to where we're getting as much force as possible off the block too.
One thing that I think is so interesting, you talk about your high school coaching is the balance between club and school swimming. And I know with soccer
Absolutely.
in Virginia, it can be a balance because you have to pick.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do club and compete with your school. What's the decision-making process and the club versus school process in general for an up-and-coming swimmer?
Absolutely. So I know personally speaking, I actually didn't start my club career until a little bit later than a lot of my old teammates. I know some people start as young as age 6, 7. I didn't start until age 14. And so I know one thing that I was really excited about with club was just the fact that I was in the water a lot more frequently. I know once I was kind of further along in my club career, and you can ask a lot of the swimmers even on deck today, we always cherished our time with high school swimming because it was kind of our more fun time with swimming. And so it was really just a matter of going and getting points for your team. And I think that's why a lot of swimmers nowadays especially really love the college dynamic of college swimming, because it's really just a matter of not necessarily your times as much, but as much as it is kind of representing your team, representing your program to the best of your ability. We all want to kind of put points up the board and kind of win a championship. And so while we still want to go best times within your collegiate career, a lot of us we want to just do our best for the sake of the team rather than for the sake of ourselves. And I know that was one of my favorite key takeaways going from club and high school swimming to collegiate swimming, was we all kind of wanted to buy into the program.
Now, obviously, to win a championship, you got to win meets.
Absolutely.
And a big thing is, can you break down how the point system works today as our expert analyst?
Yeah, so a lot of the ways the point system works is so within every event, especially that first heat of every event, places 1 through, I believe it's 6 or so, each place is worth a certain amount of points. And so, for example, like first place would be worth 5 points per se, second place would be 3, third place would be 1. So it's kind of that kind of breakdown. And so basically, that's why it's really important to kind of, even those third, fourth places are really, really important to kind of still get your hand on the wall first, because I know that can really be make or break between the meet. I know in my 4 years, there were a couple of meets where it came down to that last person in the race just because they wanted to get their hand on the wall first, and that extra point really does count. I know when it comes to conference championships where you have both an A and a B final, and all of those places are worth different amount of points. And so someone who's still getting 15th or 16th place will really kind of make or break the ultimate title at the end of the day. So like, for example, right now, how Ahmad's kind of battling the UMW swimmer, I know that point's going to matter in the long run, so it's kind of making sure that he gets his head down and still kind of finishes the race as strong as possible. I know he's been catching him here kind of as the race has progressed, so we'll kind of see him come up and really kind of kick it into gear to kind of get a good race here at the end.
Holston out in front in first place. It's been a dominant day for Jackson Holston. Looking to grab another gold finish at the top of the podium. Now a battle for second. That'll be won by Almiretto of Mary Washington, and Woodson rounds out the order with a third place finish. Zach, you also talked about, let me go back for a second. The main question that I have as a consumer of swimming, and in transparent honesty, not a frequent broadcaster in, if there's a heat with just Lynchburg swimmers, and they throw 3 swimmers out there, is that an automatic 8 points?
Sadly, no. So we have what we call exhibition heats. So some of them, sometimes a swimmer might do an exhibition race just because they want to get a time in a certain event. I know that was one thing also, too, that in my 4 years, Brad and I worked a lot kind of independently, kind of when it comes down to when we get to ODAC season, one thing that we really kind of will work on is making sure swimmers have the best lineup to their strengths. And so sometimes a swimmer might do an exhibition race to kind of just test the waters of where they're at in the meet lineup and kind of see if they can handle doing a double, or if they can handle kind of doing certain races with minimal rest time. And I just know one thing that I would do with Brad kind of quite often was I know I would exhibition a couple of my like 100 breaststrokes or 200 breaststrokes, mainly because we wanted to see if I could do some of the distance stuff with some of the shorter races. So like I said, it kind of just depends on per person. It also kind of just depends on how many swimmers we have from each school in the race. So I know sometimes that also plays a factor into it with lane space and things like that as well.
Now on event 23, the women's 100-yard fly. In lane 1 for Lynchburg, Gilbert. In lane 3, DeCruz. In lane 5, Weeks. In lane 7, Leach. For Mary Washington in lane 2, it's Klein. Lane 4 is Kokoros. Lane 6 is Brown. And lane 8 is Sivak. Coming down to the stretch. Lane 4 takes first place. It is Kokoros. Then Weeks for Lynchburg in second. And in third, Sivak all the way down at the top of the screen in lane 8. Now we transition to event 24, the first of 2 heats with a men's 100-yard fly. In lane 1 for the Hornets, Andrew Nekulia. In lane 5, Marshall. In lane 3, Marshall. In lane 5, Brooks. In lane 7, Howery. And in lane 9, Fleming. For Mary Washington, in lane 2, Storer. In lane 4, Stern. In lane 6, Berkeley. And in lane 8, Walker. They're out and away.
You know, Joe, this is one of my favorite events to watch because it really, like I said, comes down to those details of who can get off the wall the best, who can get off the start the best. But I think also it just goes back to, I think I can speak for a lot of swimmers. Everyone falls in love with the sport at some point, and I have that vivid memory of being 8 years old, watching the Beijing Olympics and watching Michael Phelps swim this. And I think a lot of the times, too, it's that kind of aspect of kind of seeing how the sports progress and kind of watching some guys go some really crazy times. Kind of within my 4 years, how fast this event has gotten in the conference and seeing how fast it will get in the future, too.
Lynchburg with 9 swimmers with a quicker time than Mary Washington's season high this year, but Brooks putting on a show out in lane 4. In lane 5, Lynchburg takes first place. Second, Connor Marshall cracks in, and in lane 4, Patrick Stern for Mary Washington puts a team season high on the board of a 54-47. Or pardon me, I was on the wrong tab. How foolish of me. It felt a little too good to be true, and it was. Nevertheless, Lynchburg with a first and second place finish. Mary Washington gets on the podium at third. Now 3 swimmers for this event, or pardon me, 4 swimmers. We've only got 3 on the blocks. Yes, just 3. For Lynchburg, it's Bergreen in 3, Gonzalez in lane 5, and Sykes in lane 4 for the Eagles. You talk about Phelps swimming this event. I mean, Brad was telling us after the coaches show this week that you guys do one of his routines as your toughest day of the year, a routine that he used to do as an elementary schooler.
Yeah. So we, every single year on training trip, our IM group will do the Michael Phelps set. It was always a very dreaded day. We never knew what day it was coming, what practice it was going to be. And I know it was almost like a rite of passage every year when we would complete it. But I know my senior year, and I finished it, and I almost cried tears of joy because it was one of those things of, thank God I'd never have to do that again. But it's one of the hardest sets I've ever done. That, along with a couple of other of our test sets on campus, is always pretty challenging, and I know it's what really makes it a true champion.
Berggren takes first, Gonzalez in second, and Sykes in third. Times of 55, 58, and 1 minute. That takes us to our second break. We're going to go down and see if we can get a score update for you before we hit this final stretch. And through 24 events, 4 to go. They'll all be good ones. And we welcome you back to the party inside Liberty Natatorium. Joe Brennan, this time joined by none other than Ethan Morotsky, who has been our director for the majority of today's affair. Guest speaker number 6, 7? I mean, we're
Something
getting up
like
there.
that.
We've had Kyle, we've had Kadelka, we've had Holden, we've had the president of the university, we have had Zach Bennett. I mean, it goes on, and we're going to finish up with a post-meet interview from a couple of guys as well. Nevertheless, we move to the women's 200-yard medley event. Number 25 today. For the Hornets in lane 1, it's Pfeiffer. In lane 3, Schneider. In lane 5, Maugan. In lane 7, Leach. And in lane 9, Craddock. For the Mary Washington Eagles, in lane 2, it's Diedrich. Lane 4, Dillman. Lane 6, Clifford. And lane 7, Kryzon. Beginning with the fly, lane 4's Dillman out in front. At the turn, in control. No real separation for second place. It looks as though Pfeiffer in lane 1 might have a slight advantage. We'll see when they get to the wall. Out in front is Dillman. In second is Schneider in lane 3. Pfeiffer in lane 1 in third. Now we move to the backstroke. And Ski, this is where the legs really play a big factor.
Yeah, I mean, swimming uses every single part of the body, and I think that's the beauty of it and why, not even just when you watch the Olympics, but any swimming event nationally, it's so fun to watch because these people, it's not just lower body, it's not just upper body or core work. You have to incorporate everything in your body if you want to win that race, or if you want to take a large advantage in any sort of race.
Now we go to the breaststroke. Dillman still in first. Schneider on her tail in lane 3. Now taking a narrow advantage. Unified at the turn. Schneider in lane 3. Picking up some ground. Schneider in front of Dillman. Clifford getting herself into the mix for the top of the leaderboard. What a great turn that was from Schneider. A final stretch of the 200 IM. Hornets in first, Eagles in second and third. And the final 15 yards. Schneider on her horse takes home first place. Second goes to Dillman, third to Clifford.
I really like the point you made, Joe. The turnarounds every single time for Schneider, it was so key in getting first place. Which, if you go look at your Olympic events, or even for Lynchburg or Mary Washington, the longer you stay in the water and you're kicking your feet kind of like a little dolphin, if you're looking at it underwater, the longer you can stay under and keep your distance going forward, it's really going to help you in the long run.
And we head to event 26. This is a big one, Ski. Men's 200-yard IM. For the Hornets, in lane 1, Olsen. In lane 3, Bambrick. In lane 5, Page. In lane 7, Fiore. In lane 9, Nicolia. For Mary Washington, in lane 2, Al Marietto. In lane 4, Roundtree. In lane 6, Berkeley. In lane 8, Kim. We did get an update on the points. So prior to that last event, the scores go as follow. On the women's side, Lynchburg, 81 points. Mary Washington, 145 points. On the men's side, a much closer battle. Mary Washington with 117, Lynchburg with 109. With just 2 men's events remaining, they'll need a first place finish to really have a chance to win. It's not out of the mix yet, but they would need all 3 winners of the final event to walk away with a victory. And right now, Mary Washington looking to slam the door shut in lane 6. It's Berkeley out in front with a time of 55:01 around the turn. 2 seconds ahead of a second-place swimmer and Jonathan Zimmer in lane 4 for Mary Washington. Lynchburg's leading swimmer, Thomas Olson, in lane 1. But now with the breaststroke, you're getting great momentum from Ryan Bambrick in lane 3. Lane 6, 4, 3, and 1, the competitors for the podium at the moment. Into the free. Berkey out in front at the turn, followed by Zimmer. Then Bambrick. Bambrick trying to get back into the mix and fight for second. Not enough juice in the tank. A great job from Mary Washington's Berkey and Zimmer to get a first and second place finish and give Mary Washington a firm, commanding lead into the final men's event. But before we get to there, we've got the women's 400-yard freestyle relay.
I think the medley is definitely one of my favorite events to watch, but it's one of the toughest for these swimmers because you got to think you start off with that butterfly, and that's probably, at least it looks from up here, one of the most draining types of events you can go through, and then you finish off with your bread and butter, trying to just let the tank out and close it in. Bambrick did a good job keeping it close, but just really no way he was going to get into first place there.
I apologize. Before we get to the women's 400-yard freestyle relay, we've got Heat 2 with Max Carrico. It is just going to be Max Carrico as the pool to himself.
Yeah, definitely a little difficult on the emotion side. Obviously, you want to swim not only with some of your teammates, but even some of the enemy with Mary Washington. But it is a little bit, these are the type of events that you really got to lock in yourself, create your own energy, not obviously in the pool, but kind of inside. Those butterflies that you get in your stomach before every single event, you have to channel that, use it as extra energy to push you further on in a race.
Carrico off to a strong start. Makes the turn at 45 seconds. This is his first time swimming this event this season.
Again, it is tough to swim when you're really the only one in the pool. You hear a couple of the Lynchburg other swim members trying to help him out, but realistically at this point, it's just being able to do it by yourself. You got to be able to, again, stay locked in and do whatever you can to just keep going forward.
Carrico with 25 yards to go on a freestyle. Carrico at the midway mark. Nothing but daylight out ahead. Carrico at the final stretch. Carrico takes home first at the wall. There you go, Carrico. Now we go to event number 27, women's 400-yard freestyle. Mary Washington in lanes 2, 4, 6, and 8. Lynchburg 3, 5, 7, and 9. A teams in lanes 4 and 5, B teams in 3 and 6, C teams in 2 and 7, both squads D team in 8, 9. So at the moment, Mary Washington's women's squad has sealed a victory today. The men's event will come down to the last relay. You get 11 points for first place, 4 for second, and 2 for third. The Hornets will most likely have to run the table.
Freestyle sprint, definitely every swimmer's bread and butter, but it's not as easy as it looks because you're trying to keep rhythm with your whole body, but you're kicking your feet as fast as you can while your upper body and your arms are going as fast as you can. It's a fun event to watch because every swimmer, all 4 in your team, they're letting it all out of the tank, and it's a ton of fun.
Right now the order goes 4, 5, 6. A great stretch from Mary Washington's D team in lane 7. Or pardon me, in lane 8. They stand at third at the moment, just passing by Portella in lane 6. And a car out in front, followed by Grace Mahan. Portella and Siraj trailing. Here comes Mowen in lane 5. Sienna Schmeck battling against Higgins. Starting to find a little bit more separation between the front and back of the pack. Lynchburg with 2 of the top 5 swimmers at the moment. And Mary Washington right now in first, third, and fourth. But Schmeck has covered a whole lot of ground, battling neck and neck with Higgins. Schmeck. She's got an edge. At the wall, up and away. And now a tight battle for third as well, almost simultaneously into the water in lanes 8, 6, and 3. At the turn, Shore out in front. The Hornets started to create some separation. Lynchburg hunting for a first place finish. Shore and Fallon as synchronized as you would want in a photo finish. Shore beats her to the turn. Has a great release underwater. Using the long strides to get to the wall. And Lynchburg captures first place. Megan Fallon takes second. Hornets B team takes third. A good finish from Lynchburg in their final women's event. And that takes us to our 28th and final event of the day.
A really great job from Sophia Shore. It was pretty much neck and neck the entire time from Lynchburg and UMW in lanes 5 and 6, but that just to be able to release all of that energy, especially onto that last transition, like you mentioned, Joe, is so beautiful. You stay under the water a good amount of time and to be able to just let it all out the tank, let it eat, and stay locked in and take the W.
Now we turn to the men's 400-yard freestyle. Lynchburg in the odd lanes, the Eagles in the even lanes. Guy I've got my eye on here is Eric Witt off the block in lane 7. He's like if Ferrari made a submarine. No real separation out of the first 25 yards. Almost unanimously to the turn. Seems like Holston's got a little bit of an edge. He's been dominating today. What a kick turn from Holston. 3, 4, 5, 6, the current order. The Hornets need to practically sweep this one for a chance at coming away with a victory. Right now they've got first and second. To our second rotation of swimmers. Oh, and we're seeing some heat out in lane 6. Watch out. Thomas Seitz and Will Berkey all the way to the top of the leaderboard. Anyone's game right now. The sideline's coming alive. Berkey has taken first. Seitz has taken second. Lynchburg with the ensuing 3 swimmers. Storr and Kryzon keeping the Hornets at bay. Here's a push from Gastaldi Fawcett. But more separation created by Reese Storr and the Eagles. It'll come down to the final stretch. Bulldozing his way through the lane, it's Tyler Caton. Mahoney out in front by a second and a half. Lynchburg in second and third. Patrick Stern and the Eagles fighting for another spot on the podium. Do the Hornets have enough for a final push? At the wall, it's Mary Washington, Lynchburg, and the Hornets take second with Brooks, third with Caton, but a first place nod to Sam Mahoney and the Mary Washington Eagles.
Yeah, really great race all around. A lot of different lead changes, but that 4th lane, Mary Washington, you got around that 3rd swimmer, they just took off and didn't look back. It looked like in lane 5, Jacob Andrews, in the middle of his routine, his goggles started to fall down in his face, and that really can be a tough physically. Obviously, it's a struggle looking in the pool without goggles, but mentally that can really just diminish and really slow a swimmer down.
That will conclude today's meet. Mary Washington with a victory on both sides of the board against the men and women's respective programs. What a fun day, though.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff we saw today. This is around third, fourth swim meet that I've luckily been able to work, and I fell in love with it as soon as I worked the first one a couple of years ago, and it's made me want to come back a ton and just be around the environment, not only with the swimmers down below us, but the parents are super nice. Our workers enjoy doing it. It's a huge and fun atmosphere. Plus, it's a lot warmer inside than it is outside right now.
Absolutely. We're going to step aside momentarily, but stick with us because we have a pair of special guests coming on. Eric Witt and Ashton Watterson will join us in the press box here momentarily as diving goes on to wrap up today's meet.